much, Pam, for the kind introduction. And first of all, well, on behalf of the WFO, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you, Pam, for the kind invitation. I owe you this presence, so it's a real pleasure for me. I will try to summarize many ideas in this presentation. You don't need to take pictures. Everything is in the Hub application. It's more information that I will be able to share in 30 minutes, but I wanted to create a report for you so you can have access through CMF to that documentation. So I think many of you know very well the WFO. For those of you that do not know our activity, we are a global body. We have more than over 30 countries taking part in the organization. UK is represented there through ICME. Thanks, Anthony, for everything in the organization. Thanks, Simon, Pam, so many years working with us also, cooperating with that. We represent the interest of the producing countries in the world in this organization, and we work with scientific, technological, and strategical information with this network. We are manufacturing in quite a complex world now, quite a difficult world now. So when we were looking for the new normal after 2020, well, maybe this is the new normal for us. Maybe it has been for so many years. So we don't think that in the future we will be having a calm moment where the context is not giving us this kind of complex situations. But we are striving to survive, and we are working to survive together in this context. I was thinking this morning, maybe the person there is thinking that the morning is a week also in this situation. Well, this is our normal context now, and this is where we work. So we need from our leaders, our managers, we need the vision to have the clarity to understand how the world, manufacturing world is evolving, how the things are evolving everywhere. That's the only way. We are not controlling the context. We can control how we cope with that. So this is an interesting picture. This is made in the last part of past year, in the last quarter, in the end. So you can see there that this is made with interviews with global CEOs, manufacturing CEOs. So you see that we're talking a lot about trade policy, trade war, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. So if you have been talking about this recently, you are aligned with the global CEOs. That's a good sign. We can imagine that after the last couple of months, this has moved to the right side because this has a great impact now in our business. So the interesting thing here is that the things that are affecting our manufacturing business are not technical now, are really connected with trade, are connected with the politics, and are connected with things that we are really not controlling too much. So we need to be really aligned with what's happening in the world. What has happened in the last 5 years is that we had, for sure, after 2020, this great impact of COVID time. So we had a great affection of production stops in our business. We started having less profitability in the foundry business, and that became the most important problem for a foundry business, more than others. We now know that the supply chain is really non-reliable in many cases for us. With this new and man-made trade crisis, we will be having and facing this problem with the supply chain for sure. Here and everywhere, also in the United States, they are really concerned. Mixed concern about how this trade war will be affecting the foundry business, because this will be affecting the foundry business there. It was interesting. We were looking into some machines. They're announced at like 0% tariff machines. It will be interesting to look into the cast components of those machines there, if they are not going to Canada, to Mexico, to other parts of the world. So it's really a complex situation now. So taking a look into the production figures first, well, not a surprise. We see China producing half of the production in the world. We had a meeting yesterday, and China announced that they were slowing down a little bit the growth. So they only have now 58 million tons of casted parts, so that was a really incredible number, because we know that they were slowing down the production, but the number we received yesterday it's really amazing. So that's the first one. We will take a look in some of the strategies they are applying now. So you see there the line, steady line of the production growth for China. We can see that there is a trend now of they are slowing down little by little the production line. It seems they have reached a kind of peak of how much they can grow in our business, but with the numbers coming from yesterday, maybe we need to take a look into that. But it's true that in the last year, they slowed down a little bit for the first time in so many years. In 2024, the only country in the world producing casted parts that had a significant growth was India. We will look later at India. So this is the split regarding materials of how they produce castings in China. What you consider that is interesting is that they have quite a wide split. So it's not focused specifically in iron. They have a wide approach on production. Also, in terms of clients, they have a wide portfolio of clients. They are not dependent in China, in our business, not dependent on automotive in 60%, like in so many other places, for example, in Europe. So they are not so affected by what happens in a single industry regarding foundry business. Even with that, we can take a look into the production of automotive there. And even that they are not so dependent, automotive in China is growing a lot. So it's doing very well in China, very, very well. Also, in terms of electric vehicles, those of you traveling to China, you know that when you are there in the streets, you look a lot, you see a lot of electric vehicles. So the industry is growing a lot, also in combustion engines, but also in electrification. So India, India is quite an interesting country now regarding foundry business, because they are trying to transform themselves into what they call a new developed country. They are investing a lot in infrastructure. They have a plan for Make It in India from so many years ago. So they are really, really working hard in our business, and they are doing well and growing in terms of the production. You can see there the casting production, which is quite steady. And one of the reasons is that they have been focused a lot in the inner market. So they have a low level of exports in comparison with the rest of the European countries. So they have a strong inner market, and they made them had quite a steady production line. They are not so focused in reshoring, because they have not been focused in manufacturing outside the country in the past. So that's a strength now for them in comparison with other countries in foundry business. So just some numbers regarding automotive industry, how they are doing. They are having some financial incentives for this client industry, and this is driving also the foundry business. So the government is financing some of these driving industries for foundry business. This is what I told you. They are working a lot for investing in transportation and roads, railways. There are so many plans now for the future, and our foundry business is relying on the future of these actions there, because they will be just investing a lot, and they will be just gaining that advantage in comparison with other countries. United States, they remain having a growing trend. It's true that 2024 was a year that they slowed down a little bit, but that was just the end of the year. And in the beginning of the year, they started again with a growth tendency there in the foundry production. Some interesting ideas regarding how they see the future. This was made in the end of past year, so this has changed. So if you think this is positive, now it's more positive. So they thought that 2025 will be positive. After the first 2 months of the new administration, they feel it will be more positive even. So that's what they feel. This is a mixed feeling, because they are concerned about these tariffs, but they believe that they will be having a very good year in terms of foundry manufacturing business in the end of this year. This is the feeling they have. You see there quite a positive approach to that in comparison also with many other surveys like this in Europe, for example, that we are not so positive. And a couple of interesting ideas, sales projections, of course, but I wanted to raise your interest here because this is where foundry CEOs were telling us in the end of past year they will be investing in 2025. So you can see there robotics as the main one. I can imagine Mike and Adam, you agree that this is important to invest in, and this is connected with some ideas in your interesting presentation. All of the foundry CEOs there in the States that were requested to answer this were saying they will be investing in the beginning of 2025 in our business. This is not manufacturing, this is foundry CEOs. And many of them, most of them said that they will be investing in robotics, in automation. This is important because our competitors, and I would say India, China, United States, are investing in automation mainly. And this is a sign also for the rest of the manufacturing countries. I have not talked to Adam and Mike before this presentation, so this is absolutely independent. Just coming to Japan. Japan is quite an interesting country because it's in Asia, but the challenges and approaches more similar than to Europe and UK, for example, than maybe to China or Korea, which is quite interesting. You see there the production trend there is only for spherical graphite cast iron, but I think they maintain the line for all the materials. So they have an increase in production recently in the last year, but they are just little by little slowing down that trend. You can see the line there. It picks up and down, but they are reducing the production year after year. Something that is affecting them more than in Korea and in China is the energy price. So they are really affected by the energy price. So this is reducing profitability in the business, which is a really big problem for them. Like here, you can see there's some data also about CO2 emissions. They are really concerned about going green. They are creating working groups and working a lot into trying to decarbonize the industry. So they are more aligned with these projects with us more than maybe China. If we look for a partner in Asia that could help us trying to cope with these energy issues, Japan is a good partner. They are working a lot into that direction, more than maybe Korea and China. Germany, well, not very good news coming from Germany. You all know because Germany is driving our markets in Europe. So we are all with one eye looking into what's happening there. But the numbers are really hard to see regarding 2024. Manufacturing industry reduced a lot in 2024. And foundry business, you see there, great reduction in the production, which is shocking. That number in the end of 2024 was really shocking for everybody. The real thing is that now there have been some bankruptcies there, but not so many, not reflecting just reflecting these numbers in the reduction production there in the country. So they are resisting now, they are struggling, but the numbers are really no good. The feeling there is that there is now the slowdown has somehow stopped, and they are now more confident on some measures that the new government is taking. So I believe that the government there has realized the situation is really critical for industry, and they have started taking some measures. And the foundry business there, the foundry managers believe that maybe in the future, I see the future this year, 2025, some positive effects can come because of those decisions taken. You see the utilization here, so for sure, there 2020, it's a peak down because of the production stops. But now we see that we are in a complex moment there in Germany. With that reduction in the production, we have a very low utilization of the foundry plants, which is really a bad number. You see here the split regarding the customer structure. Of course, Germany has been always very dependent on automotive. Not so dependent as other countries, but really close to 60% there in ferrous materials. Of course, in non-ferrous is higher because of aluminum especially. But they are really dependent on automotive. And automotive is doing really bad in this last year in Germany. So they have been really badly affected by this situation. some ideas regarding your country and your industry. I know that you have maybe this today you will be having a lot of information regarding this, but we'll just highlighting a couple of things here. First is that the lack of confidence in the business is somehow driving some of the problems here in UK. So there is we could say this is happening in Europe also. So it is quite similar. So we don't have the confidence in the business, in the evolution of the business, and we don't have the investments. When we look into other countries that have that confidence and that drives the investment, that drives the industry. So this is a very big problem for us. The challenges, well, we discussed yesterday, it was really interesting to listen to all these discussions. Energy and labor costs are affecting a lot here in UK. In the whole world, I mean, these are the challenges now for the world. Labor is the main challenge for the United States, for example, over energy and over production. Labor is their main problem this has been in the last 3 years. Some difficulties regarding law and regulations regarding going green and the Green Deal. So this is really making us struggling in the foundry business. Some new movements have been done in the European Union. I think also here the European Union has realized we are now in a big problem, and other countries also have realized that these regulations need to be adapted to the real situation of the foundry business and the manufacturing business. So now I think our governments are more close to our concerns about this coping with these green regulations. Something that you have mentioned and Simon mentioned this morning in the beginning about a couple of things you are doing here. This Foundry in the Box project, for example, that is really a beautiful project. For those of you not knowing that, I would encourage you to just take a look into that because it's a beautiful project. Many things are taking place here regarding trying to connect with young generations for that. Also connected with robotics and automation, and Adam made an interesting highlight there. If we need automation, we will be needing more skilled people, and we have a problem accessing now skilled people. So those problems are really connected. So we need to take a global look into those to try to solve all together. A couple of notes regarding research. We have we make a study every year. You have access to this study every year because we create a report in the WFO that is offered to the nations that are taking part there, and UK is taking part there. So every year you have access through your presence in your UK organizations to this report. We take a look into how the world is researching in foundry business, and we try to look into the hubs. We see that China has increased a lot in the recent years, their presence in terms of research. So they are not producing a lot. They are researching more and more than the rest of the countries. And another thing there is that we have a lot of sources for money, for research in the world. In UK can be the same as it happens, for example, in Europe. You have many sources for research. But in China, they have everything quite concentrated. So they have the ability to put money for research in foundry, but to decide which are the areas they will be funding. So they have quite a strong approach in terms of a strategy. So it's important to think that they are producing a lot, they are researching a lot, and they are really focused in what they are researching. So this is an important note regarding this. We are going to an intelligent industry. This is clear, and we realize about this just after 2020. And what we see in the industry when we take a global look is that they are trying to invest or investing, especially in digitalization and sustainability. Those are the two that they are investing in foundry plants, in foundry business. Flexibility was a desire from the past, but now we don't see that the plants are investing so much in that. They are starting with going digital and going sustainable. Those are the main areas. Some challenges we see in the industry. We have taken a look into how the industries, the foundry business is doing in after 2020 to see which are the strengths they are showing. So we have many of them, and we try to look into how they are doing to try to cope with those challenges associated with this strength. So diversification, this is quite clear. We see that many foundry plants, let's say, what they are doing now is if they are specialized in a single product. They are really, really good in a casted part for the business. Now they are looking for more products to be casted. So the companies are trying to not being so specialized in a single product, even if they are the best in that. They are trying to look for more portfolio, more products to be casted, and they are looking for new markets. In the last couple of years, many companies have approached us to try to look for a partner outside. They are trying to build a new plant outside their countries. So they are looking for new partnerships. This is a trend we are now identifying globally quite clear. Foundry as essential activity. Well, this is not in our hands. This is the tricky part of that. But what we see is that in many cases, our competitors, and I'm talking about the countries, the producing countries, the ones that have a great connection with the government, the ones that have a government that have identified manufacturing as critical, they are really doing well now. So it is very important. We are not only manufacturers. We are manufacturers that need our governments going with us along the road, because without that, it's quite difficult to cope with the challenges. And we see India, we see China, we see United States. They are doing really well in foundry business, but their governments are really connected with the strategy of the manufacturing network there in the country. This is a very important message. This is connected with the national economic industry as well, and the stage of digitalization. Well, we talked about this, I think, yesterday a lot. It was really interesting. It's depending on which is the stage some foundries are in this process, that they can have a different challenge or not. But what we see is that many foundries are trying to start with this process. So it's harder for those ones that hadn't started before 2020, for example, because after that it's quite a complex context for investment. But everybody is looking to this as a challenge. So this is quite a clear trend we see in the foundry business. Many foundries are looking for a new layout in their plants, looking for the investments for doing that. They are identifying that with the actual layouts for production, they are not able to cope with the future challenges. So they are trying to look for how to evolve into a new digital layout for the future. The size is a big problem also for foundry business. So we see here, we see in Europe, we see in United States also even that we are composed especially by SMEs. So it's we have quite a small companies, medium companies. We have not pretty much big groups there in the foundry business. So it's quite difficult for those companies to grow up, because sometimes, a lot of times, those are family-owned, family-run, and it's very difficult to have this kind of businesses taking part in a bigger group. So this is quite a big problem. And this is not solved in the short term for so many companies. What these companies are doing is they are looking more and more for partnerships. They are looking more and more for international cooperation, trying to cope with the need of being bigger for coping with some of these new challenges for the future. What we see also, and it's an important note, there is more internationalization from this Chinese foundry business. China has a 5 years plan. They have changed it recently to a new one. When they identify a plan for manufacturing, they create that plan, they follow up that plan, and they go for the goals of that plan. This is not something optional. They do it. And now for a manufacturing business in China, including foundry business, they have a mandate to go international. So the foundry business in China is going international in 2025. So you will see delegations from foundry companies in China all over Europe this year. I have a meeting in Slovenia this year. They were in China, they were in United States having some drinks. I don't think they were very much concerned about tariffs. I think they have a different approach to that also. So they are traveling a lot, and this is something that we should be aware of. They have really an interest in going international, which is quite good for us. It's really interesting. We have many international groups led by China. They are opening those. So some people from UK could be taking part in part of our actions. I will explain later. So this is really interesting. But regarding competition, we should be taking a look into that also. So the foundry business is going international in more way. So we talk about all of this. So new markets, we have the new market for us is defense industry, quite clear. We had a meeting yesterday, and I think everybody in the meeting from a lot of countries said that defense will be the new market for everybody. The only ones not saying that were China and the United States in that meeting, because I believe that industry is already very strong for foundry business. But for the rest, defense is the new market. So we have an opportunity, but everybody is looking for that. We need to be quick. So everybody is looking for this new market. Everybody is moving already. The foundries are moving already to go for this production market. Advanced manufacturing, supply chain, the mobility strategy, and decarbonized industry. Well, we discussed those yesterday and today. Just a couple of notes regarding CO2 emission reduction strategies. So what foundry business are doing is focusing specifically not only in technical problems, also economical and environmental approach to the complex solution to this. But they are looking for promoting this energy efficiency or conservation. This is one of the areas foundry business is working hard in. Energy substitution, of course, this is the main, I would say this is the most important one. The thing here is that we need our governments working with us for that. Without that, it's impossible, and this is having the main impact in the final solution for these CO2 emissions and the process substitution. So foundry businesses are working in what they can cope with, which is process substitution and promoting energy efficiency, but they are trying to have their governments working with them in energy substitution. That's very important. Okay, some strategies, very quick. We have some working groups working in the WFO context. We try to identify the challenges for the industry with our members, and we try to start these actions. All of them are international actions. What we are doing now is our working groups, especially those leaders in China, are focusing materials. So you see non-ferrous, ferrous, die casting, molding materials. These have been making an interesting, a great job in the last years. Now we are trying to have more people from other countries taking part there. So we have a very good opportunity here to work with these actions in the future. So this is something interesting. We have a working groups report created every year, and this is available through our associations. So you can access also that information, or I can give you direct more information about these working groups. We have a very interesting event that is focusing in CEOs working together. So it's trying to have 70% of the room composed of owners of foundry business and CEOs. That's the goal. We reached it in New York and in Rome last time. And well, I told a guy there in the United States, because we were in front of the Statue of Liberty, and he told me, you need to improve this for the next edition. So what we did is we hired a castle in France. We tried to improve that one. So I think they were happy with this proposal. So we will be in October here in Chantilly in France. We will be having a couple of days strategical presentations. We've been talking to a lot of people from the European Space Agency. Will be a Jaguar Land Rover there making a presentation. We talked to a very interesting girl in NASA there in the United States, but she had all her team reduced by Elon Musk. So now she's a little bit afraid of coming to France and justify that. So we'll be having problems to have her with us, but a couple of days there. And the idea is to have this network with the foundry CEOs. We have some companies already sponsoring the action. It was a very successful event because what I told them there in New York is that for me, it's easy to have a 1 hour presentation to give some insights, but they can learn incredibly more just having a coffee with CEOs from other parts of the world in a room. So that's our idea behind the event. We will be having our Congress next year. This is a very special Congress. This will be our centenary Congress. So our Turkish colleagues are organizing this interesting event there in Istanbul, September. So we will be inviting all of you, all the industries. We will be having a special invitation to the people that has been taking part with us in the long history of the WFO. and a very interesting event where young people are taking part. We started that in 2023. We celebrated our second edition past year, and now we are with our third edition. The idea is that we can identify the most promising young people in the industry globally. So last year we identified 10 people from 9 countries. We brought them to Germany to make an in-person presentation, and we took the best ones to China, to the Congress, and we made them interact with the rest of the network. The idea is that these people that are really good can return to their countries really passionate about the foundry business. That's our idea. And this is a very special event. Now this year we are trying to create national competitions as the first stage, so they can come and compete in the last stage. So just finally, a couple of thoughts to close. First is that, well, we have a slowdown in the recovery for our business. That's what we detect now as a trend. We expected this year to be the recovery 3 years ago. Now we know that it will be taking more time to have a recovery in our business. The global trade is affecting us a lot. So we need to take a look into geopolitical issues in the foundry business. This is affecting us a lot. We have diversification and new markets. That's some important thing for our foundries. As I mentioned, defense will be the biggest one that will be growing in 2025, 2026 for sure. That has been identified as that. And public-private alliances are really important. So cooperation with the public bodies, cooperation with other companies, cooperation with international companies and bodies are really, really important now, because we need to take a look into some challenges that can only be solved if the government is with us, and other challenges we need the rest of the foundry businesses to give us solutions and not being alone for that. So that's all, and thank you so much.